Darkness fills the screen. A low rumble of thunder rolls in, followed by the sound of wind sweeping across a lonely highland. Slowly, the faint outline of mist-covered hills begins to appear. A clock ticks softly, echoing as if it were in an empty chamber. Then a deep and haunting voice breaks the silence. Time bends, hearts endure, but the past, it never lets go. The screen flickers with a flash of lightning, revealing a brief silhouette of a man standing on a hill. Then darkness again. The atmosphere is thick, mysterious, and foreboding, pulling the audience into the world of Outlander before a single face is revealed. The mist thickens, swallowing the highlands while the faint sound of footsteps crunches against gravel. A lone figure, unseen by face, carries a torch through the fog. The flame flickers violently as the wind howls, threatening to extinguish it. Suddenly, a whisper cuts through the air. Every choice has a cost. The camera shifts to show a broken clock lying on the ground. Its hands spin wildly as though time itself is collapsing. A hand reaches down, trembling, brushing dirt from the shattered glass. As the ticking grows louder, it overlaps with the beating of a heart, slow at first, then racing. The audience feels the weight of time pressing in, the sense that what has been done cannot easily be undone. A parchment falls into view, blood staining its edge. The torchlight flickers across it, revealing a message only half readable. "We must leave before it's too late." The words blur as the screen fades into black for a moment, leaving viewers to hold their breath. Then, faint echoes of overlapping voices begin to rise. They are not clear, but heavy with emotion, pleading, fearful, and filled with longing. "You must choose," another whispers. "We cannot go back," a second voice insists. The sounds weave together until they become almost unbearable, then stop, cut off by a single loud drum beat. The silence that follows is crushing. The torch flame finally dies, leaving only darkness. Then the deep voice returns, slower, sharper, and final. The past demands its due. The section ends here, building mystery and tension, while planting the seed that this season will push the boundaries of love, sacrifice, and the merciless pull of time. The silence is broken by the sound of distant bagpipes, soft and ghostly, as if carried on the wind from another century. The mist clears just enough to reveal the jagged outline of a ruined castle, standing against a storm-filled sky. Rain begins to fall, each drop echoing louder than it should, as though time itself amplifies every sound. A pair of hands, one rough and scarred, the other delicate yet steady, clasp tightly in the shadows. Their grip is desperate, not of greeting, but of survival. The screen cuts to the waves of the sea crashing violently against dark rocks. The camera lingers on the water as lightning illuminates the horizon, showing fleeting glimpses of ships struggling against the storm. The clash of thunder merges with the faint cry of a voice almost lost beneath the roar. "Hold on to me, no matter what comes." The words vanish as quickly as they appeared, leaving only the restless sea. We shift back to the highlands, where a lone rider crosses the moor. Only the outline is seen, cloak whipping in the storm, horses' hooves splashing mud into the air. The rider slows and looks to the sky as though waiting for a sign, before disappearing into the fog. The sound of the clock returns, louder now, echoing against the storm, reminding us that time is chasing them, unstoppable and cruel. Suddenly, the camera closes in on a single candle burning inside a stone chamber. Its flame trembles, casting long shadows on the walls. A hand moves toward it, hesitant, as though deciding whether to protect the fragile light or let it be snuffed out. Before the choice can be made, the wind howls through unseen cracks and the candle flickers wildly. Darkness threatens to swallow everything once again. A voice, clearer now, filled with urgency, cuts through. The future is written in blood, but love can still rewrite it. The section ends on the image of the trembling candle flame, holding on against the storm. A fragile symbol of hope, but one the audience knows may not last. The sound of a drum begins, low and steady, like a heartbeat marching toward doom. The screen bursts alive with rapid flashes. Boots trampling wet earth, swords drawn in silence, a banner snapping in the wind. The storm that raged before has settled into an eerie stillness, the kind that comes just before battle. A raven caws overhead, its black wings slicing across the gray sky, an omen that the land remembers every war and every fallen soul. The camera moves through a battlefield that is not yet alive, but waiting, Helmets are placed on heads, muskets loaded, blades sharpened. Yet no faces are revealed. Only the trembling hands, the shaking breath, the silent prayers whispered into the void. A whisper overlays the soundscape. Not all battles are fought with steel. Some are fought with the heart. Then the imagery sharpens. Letters burning in fire, maps torn apart. A hand gripping the hilt of a sword so tightly the knuckles turn white. In between these moments, softer images break through. Claire's hand brushing against stone, a child's toy abandoned in the mud, a candle blown out by unseen breath. These fleeting contrasts remind us that love and war are bound together, each tearing at the other, neither willing to surrender. The drumbeat quickens. The heartbeat matches it. The audience feels the pull of inevitability. A soldier's musket fires. The sound deafens the screen to black. Out of the void comes a single line, strong and steady, spoken with both pain and power. This time, there is no turning back. The screen fades into a red glow as though the world itself is bleeding, and the section closes with the echo of swords clashing in the distance, unseen, but felt. The screen opens with total silence. No drums, no thunder, no voices, just the faint sound of a heartbeat, steady and alone. Slowly, the heartbeat grows louder until it becomes a thunderous echo, and the image of a stone circle emerges from the mist. Each stone glows faintly as if pulsing with time itself, ancient and eternal. The camera glides through the circle, but no figures are seen, only shadows whispering across the stones. Suddenly, the silence shatters. A rush of quick-cut images strikes the screen. A sword falling into mud, a letter sealed with wax cracking open, a hand letting go of another hand. The cuts grow faster, flames devouring parchment, a door slamming shut, a tear rolling down an unseen face. Then a single whisper, calm yet devastating. Every ending is born from love. The screen flashes white, then plunges back into black. Out of the darkness, the sound of chains breaking erupts. A horse rears in the distance, lightning illuminates a ruined castle one last time, and the storm breaks into chaos. The montage reaches a fever pitch. Soldiers running, lips meeting in a kiss, blood splattering on stone. The sound design drowns into a mix of war cries and soft whispers, tangled together until the audience cannot tell if it is war or love that dominates. And then, silence again. A candle burns, its tiny flame flickering in the void. It trembles, almost dies, but then steadies. Over it, the deep voice returns one last time. Outlander. The final chapter begins. The screen explodes with the title card. Outlander Season 8. 2025A final violin note holds in the air, eerie and fragile before cutting off like a breath caught in the throat. The screen begins in complete darkness, broken only by the soft echo of water dripping in a cavern. Each drop sounds heavier than the last, like time itself counting down. Slowly, a faint glow emerges, revealing the outline of an ancient stone carved with strange markings. The markings flicker with light as though alive, pulsing in rhythm with the heartbeat we've heard before. A whisper seeps through the silence, layered and overlapping, voices from different centuries speaking the same words. We always find each other. The phrase repeats softer each time, until it feels less like dialogue and more like a vow echoing across generations. The imagery shifts, slow motion shots that feel almost dreamlike. A feather drifting through the air. A single rose crushed under a boot, a broken chain swinging in the wind. A child's laugh heard faintly, then swallowed by the roar of distant battle. These fragments collide into one another, hinting that the story's end is not just about war but about memory, legacy, and what survives when time itself crumbles. The sound builds, first a hum, then a chant until it crescendos into a haunting chorus. As the voices rise, the screen bursts with flashes. The stone circle glowing brighter, two hands trying to reach across a tear in the air, a clock's gears snapping apart. Just as it feels unbearable, everything freezes. Silence. One final line is spoken, low and unshakable. Love does not end. It waits. The last image lingers, a shadow stepping into the circle, swallowed by light. The screen fades to black. Text appears, carved into the darkness like stone. A sudden cut, absolute void. No sound, no movement. Just black. For a long moment, the screen refuses to change, forcing the audience to sit in the stillness. Then slowly, the faintest glow appears, like moonlight breaking through a crack. The glow reveals an ancient journal, its pages fluttering though no wind moves. Ink spreads across the parchment on its own as if history is rewriting itself. The camera closes in. Words bleed onto the page, shaky and unfinished. This is not the end. Before the phrase is complete, the ink runs, staining the parchment black. A heavy exhale fills the silence, not from any visible figure, but from the air itself, as if time itself breathes. Suddenly, faint echoes of footsteps emerge, slow and deliberate. They grow louder, closer, until they seem to walk just behind the audience. The screen stays black, leaving imagination to fill the void. Then a whisper cuts through, neither male nor female, but something timeless. One last choice remains. The whisper hangs in the air as a stone circle flickers back into view. But this time it is fractured. Its stones cracked and broken. Light seeps from the cracks like molten fire, spilling across the ground as though the world itself is tearing apart. A hand reaches from the shadows toward the fractured circle, but before it touches, the screen cuts to black once again. In silence, a single sound echoes, a clock's final tick. But this time there is no talk. Only the unfinished sound suspended forever. The screen opens not with thunder or fire, but with quiet beauty. A sunrise spills over the highlands, golden light breaking across the hills. For a brief, fragile moment, the world feels at peace. Birds take flight, their wings catching the dawn. The grass sways gently, and the sound of a river trickles softly in the distance. It is a vision of calm, so perfect it feels unreal. Then, as the light grows brighter, the landscape begins to distort. The river runs backward. The birds freeze mid-flight, wings suspended in air. The golden sun flickers like a candle about to go out. The peaceful scene fractures like glass, revealing cracks of shadow underneath. Time itself is unraveling. A single voice emerges, softer than ever, carrying both sorrow and promise. What has been lost will not stay buried. The imagery turns dreamlike, almost surreal. A child's laugh echoes through the valley, blending with the clash of swords. A rose blooms in fast motion only to wilt in seconds. Two shadows reach for each other across a widening chasm of light, their fingertips barely touching before the vision shatters. The screen cuts to black, but instead of silence, a haunting lullaby begins. It sounds old, sung in Gaelic, distant as though carried from another lifetime. The song lingers as faint light returns, the image of a single stone from the circle standing alone in darkness. A figure passes behind it, unrecognizable, faceless, leaving only the echo of footsteps. The lullaby fades. One last line appears, carved into the screen like an epitaph. The story lives beyond time. A faint clock tick returns, but instead of ending, it loops, forever repeating. As if the audience is caught in the circle too.